We all want and need a good night's sleep. I'm Jackie Anderson. I'm a missionary to Ethiopia, and soon I'll be flying that long flight and struggling with jet lag. But in these times of uncertainty, it is normal to struggle to get to sleep. There are so many things on our minds. What should we do? Psalm 4 was written by King David about 3,000 years ago. Old advice indeed, but effective. So let's read through Psalm 4 totally, and then we'll dig in deeper for some of the details and advice. Try to listen to David's heart as we read.
Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast relieved me in my distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. O sons of men, how long will my honor become a reproach? How long will you love what is worthless and aim at deception? But I know that the Lord has set apart the godly man for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Tremble and do not sin. Meditate in your heart upon your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and trust in the Lord. Many are saying, who will show us any good? Lift up the light of thy countenance upon us, O Lord. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than when their grain and new wine abound. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for thou alone, O Lord, dost make me to dwell in safety. First, we notice in verse 2 that David has a problem on his mind. Some people think it has to do with his son Absalom, who chased him out of Jerusalem. Absalom was trying to make himself king. But as I read this psalm, the emphasis seems to be slander. David's honor has been attacked by men who deceive. I know firsthand how distressing it is to have your reputation attacked. And you can spend nights thinking about what you want to say to someone. You rehearse the things that you have heard or said. Whatever the specific problem you are having, David's advice will help you. David has the answer. First, he passionately calls out to God in verse 1. Answer me, O God. Relieve me in my distress. Be gracious to me. Hear me.
When we are desperate for sleep, we can really toss and turn and cry out to God. If you're sharing a bed with someone, you might want to get up, go someplace quiet, calm yourself, cry out to God until you're ready to go back to bed.
Verse 3 is a faith statement. David knows that the Lord is for him. He knows that the Lord hears him. God has answered in the past, and this gives David comfort. David is talking to sons of men, the ones that are slandering him. It's like he is saying, hey guys, you might be causing me trouble, but God is on my side. How long do you think you can continue? Verse 4 is interesting in that David begins to speak to himself. He tells himself to not sin in his anger. This is good advice. Instead of rehearsing angry words, David says, meditate upon your bed and be still. David takes control of his thoughts and directs them toward the God who does have control.
Be still is a war term. It means that a battle has been raging and now we can stop fighting. Be still. We can be still because we know that God is waging the battle for us. David advises himself, soul, calm down, be still, stop fighting and trust God. I personally don't trust anyone unless I know them. And the more I get to know God, the more I trust him.
Verse 6, lift up the light of thy countenance upon us, O Lord. David is speaking to God, and he's asking for a sense of his presence, a light in a dark place. Sometimes we feel so alone, so burdened, so down in a dark pit that it is so much relief to see a night light, a glimmer of comfort. God's presence is described as that night light, and God's presence restores a gladness to David's heart. In fact, he says, this gladness is better than new wine. That's interesting because today's science advises us that alcohol at night actually can cause disturbed sleep. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Here comes verse 8, which I have memorized. Notice that it says the word both. Both lie down and sleep. I might lie down and toss, but this verse says I can lie down and sleep in peace. Peace is a lack of anxiety, no troubled thoughts. Why can David and you and me have peace?
David could continue to fret and fret about his enemies. We can continue to fret as well, but we both need to choose to trust God. This sense of safety comes from the very presence of God.
A commentator said that the word alone here is in loneliness or solitude. This means that this is a picture of David going to sleep alone, but with God. Here is a great illustration. David finds rest because he is like a babe swaddled in the arms of a loving father. He stops struggling and fighting. He is still, and he snuggles in alone with the God he believes and trusts.
If you've been around a new baby, you know how they throw an arm here, throw another arm out, and they're wiggling, and their arms are going. And then the parent takes them and puts those arms down and swaddles them up carefully. The child then rests in your arms, and their little faces look at you in quietness. The tired child is surrounded by loving arms. We can find that same stillness. We can stop tossing as we realize God's loving arms are holding us, surrounding us, keeping us relaxed in trust and faith so that we fall asleep.
Our prescription for joy today: start with prayer. Cry out to God for help to sleep. If you need to tell God your problems so that you can wind down and be still, do that. And then take time to meditate on God's character that you know. Be still. Stop fighting and trust. Ask for God's presence to totally surround you and comfort you.
Psalm 4 is an evening prayer, and Psalm 5 is a morning prayer. There's a rhythm of life going on here. I listened to a sleep expert who said we need this rhythm. We should go to bed about the same time every night and get up in the morning about the same time. Well, God also recommends that we have a rhythm of evening prayer and morning prayer.
Remember, you're not alone in this struggle to get a good night's rest. I hope this has encouraged you. Please share with others.